It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports, the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
What is up, my friends? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Checking out a new RCWR show. Your man Lee Sanders here for this Monday night of April 1st, 2024. I'm trying to figure out if this is the first time in show history that we've ever done a show on an April 1st. I would have to go back and check the analytics of time. If it's not the very first time that we're doing a show on April 1st, then it's potentially a case where it's the second time in show history that we're doing a show on April 1st. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend as we are finally here, WrestleMania week. This is it, man. Oh, my God. So many matches to look forward to. So many great festivities that's going to be going down. Shout out to everybody that plans on doing some stuff in the Philly area. I hope you guys have a lot of fun. This was a solid edition of Monday Night Raw. A nice, well-rounded go-home edition. I don't know, though, if it was as good as what we had got last week. I think we all could be in agreement. Last week was loads more fun. But you know what? This was just as good for the most part. Also, didn't hurt that this edition of Raw was commercial free. What did you guys think about the episode? Sound off. You can vote via youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab. Or you can sound off on X, formerly known as Twitter, at the RCWR Show. We'll circle on back, see what you guys had to say. Yo, you picked a good night to check out the show tonight because there is loads of stuff that we are going to be getting into. If you didn't already check out the episode description, not only are we going to be talking about tonight's Raw, we're also going to be talking about the Roman Reigns documentary that aired Sunday night on A&E. Man, that's all I got to say. I love that joint so much. Your man was trying to make it be his business to watch it a second time. That's how damn good it was. We also had the finale of The Walking Dead, The Ones We Love. In case you guys are not aware, that had tied around Michonne and Rick Grimes, the Walking Dead all-time favorite characters among fans. They were in a limited run series. This was a series that when you see the way it ends, and you'll understand why, it ain't coming back for a second season. This was pretty much I would say, the loyal Walking Dead fans, especially those that, yo, what's going on with Rick? What's going on? What's going on, right? So, but we'll talk about that. Now, sadly, the Bray Wyatt documentary, I did not get a chance to check that out yet because for those of you that had checked out the show last week, if you remember, one of the things that I wasn't sure about was, all right, is this series or this documentary, is it going to be released like sometime Monday, or was it going to be a case where it was going to come on immediately after Monday Night Raw went off the air? Because when you look back to last week's Raw and you saw the way that it was advertised, they basically were saying after Monday Night Raw. So that's where there was a little bit of confusion. So sadly, I did not see the Bray Wyatt documentary yet. For those of you that did, just hold your thoughts. And we're definitely going to be doing another show this week. What I can't figure out right now is if we're going to be doing a show Wednesday or if we're going to be doing a show Thursday or Friday, because we definitely got to offer WrestleMania predictions and all that. But I will definitely, on one of those days, I will talk about the Bray Wyatt documentary for you guys, all right? But, yeah, loads of stuff that we're going to be getting into. We got an update on the Janelle Grant, Vince McMahon, WWE lawsuit. Of course, the CM Punk. I mean, if you would have told me April 1st, hey, man, there's going to be this interview that's going to drop with CM Punk and Ariel Helwani, and CM Punk is going to break his silence for the very first time talking about his exit from AEW and the now infamous confrontation with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. CM Punk, in his own words, I would have said to you, that's a really good April Fool's joke, but you ain't getting me with that one. But to actually see the footage, the clips and all of that. So look, you picked a great night to tune in to tonight's show. Let's burn through Raw quickly so we can get to the real good, juicy meat and potatoes of stuff to talk about here on the show and everything. Congratulations to WWE, by the way, who had another sold-out event tonight. This was their 13th consecutive sold-out event. That is one hell of a streak. That is good to be bragging about, quite honestly. And they set the all-time attendance for a Raw event at that Brooklyn arena they were at tonight, as the attendance number was 15,546. Sounds, yeah, I'm 90% sure that's the final number. So that is just, that's great. That is great. Everything is just, and another one. Every time you hear WWE is doing these sold out shows, you're going, that is good. That's what we like. Yes, do it that way. That's how we like it. So this was good. You know, you can't hate on that, because when you see one wrestling promotion is doing well, man, eventually that just trickles down to the other promotions. It makes the other promotions step their game up and all of that, as far as I'm concerned. So, hey, I see you guys out there that's trying to do your thing. But anyway, The Rock kicking things off on this commercial-free edition of Raw. We pretty much had got the first hour free. Only Dwayne The Rock Johnson knows how to come out pushing a cow vest. You can't make this stuff up. I'm looking at that vest and I'm going, yo, I can get jacked all I want. Ain't no way I'm going to be able to push that. And my wife sees a couple of screenshots I send to her and she's like, yeah, only The Rock can pull that off. And it got to a point where I'm looking at this vest. And I don't know if you guys were thinking the same thing. Sound off in the comments to let me know. But the more and more I was looking at The Rock's vest, I'm going, yo, if I'm the social media campaign manager for Chick-fil-A, I am taking that screenshot image of The Rock in that cow vest and I'm putting some type of caption that goes, see, Rocky knows where the real food is at. He knows you got to go to Chick-fil-A. I would just, because remember, every time you go to a Chick-fil-A, depending, there's usually a cow mascot, and they got the sign walking around where they're basically saying, don't eat cows, eat chicken instead, or, it's like a running gag or whatever. But I'm looking at that on The Rock, and I'm going, yo, it might be kind of funny, but in all seriousness, only The Rock knows how to push a vest. Rock coming out there, glowing over the fact that he beat the holy crap out of our man Cody Rhodes last week, honoring his word when he promised that he was going to put Cody Rhodes' blood on that belt of his to give it to Mama Rhodes. Oh, he was just in full effect. And by the way, WWE messed with his entrance yet again. They played around with the Videotron entrance. They did a little extra with the music at the start of the introduction and everything. And I thought it was a nice touch. It now seems complete as far as I'm concerned. It seems very complete. What more work could they do to it, honestly? right? I mean, seriously. I mean, from adding the final boss little graphics in there and then putting The Rock himself almost like a silhouette like on that Titantron joint, badass. I just love the overall presentation of this revamped incarnation of Hollywood Rock. He has just been on a freaking roll. He had that crowd. Tell me if I'm lying. He had that crowd in the palm of his hands tonight. This was a white hot crowd, and I freaking loved it. I loved it. That energy was just so infectious. Now, one thing that I was not aware of from last week, and that's the fact that we had some, I guess WWE is now incorporating TikTok videos. And I mean, that's kind of controversial as it is right now because Congress, Senate, they're trying to figure out a way to ban TikTok. We won't get into all that, but those of you that's following the news, you know what's going on with TikTok. But I kind of chuckled as I was watching tonight to see that WWE was incorporating some fan-recorded TikTok videos where we're seeing these little kids that are crying over the fact that The Rock had beat the holy bejeebus out of Cody Rhodes. I saw this one precious little girl. She must have been maybe 3 or 4 years old, maybe 5. And she just has the tears running down her face, the snot, and I'm just going, oh, precious. No, don't worry. Cody's going to get his comeuppance. It's okay. You chill. It's okay. Everything's going to be all right. Come WrestleMania. Here, have your Flintstone pop, right? And I'm looking at this footage that they're incorporating here as Rock recaps. And I'm saying, wow, I did not see this last week. Somehow I missed that footage, believe it or not. I am kind of busy after all. But I said after I saw it, Rock is going to get on that footage. He's going to play up to the fans, tie it into the whole Cody crybabies and all that. And it's like the most heelish thing a mofo can do. I mean, seriously, it's the most heelish thing a heel could do is take some footage of some kids that's crying over the fact that their beloved hero got his ass beat. I mean, whipped like, right? He got whipped beyond the government mule, okay? Only The Rock can pull this off, and sure enough, because like, wait for it. He pulled it off beautifully. I loved it. It was a nice touch. Everything was good there. Rocky was talking for about a good 15 minutes. It's one of those things where you're just standing there, you're in awe. And as a wrestling fan, I'm just in this phase where I'm just relishing everything that's happening right now because it just feels so rejuvenating. Yet again, like I haven't had this high. I haven't had this type of buzz as a wrestling fan, more specifically as a WWE fan, since the Attitude Era. Yes, not everything was good with the Attitude Era, but I remember how excited I was as a teenager back then, and just this incredible magical ride that's been happening these last several months. WWE has just been, there's no telling where they're going to be 6 months, a year from now, because you're just looking at this and you don't want for the ride to stop. That's the thing. You don't want for it to stop. If anything, you're going, we got to continue to add on to this. We got to continue to thin this out and keep it going. We got to stretch it out, keep it going, not sacrificing quality in the process. Like, how are we doing this? And I think they've got the right team in place that's going to see to it for the near future that things are. It really does feel like we're ushering in, so to speak, a new era of WWE when it's all said and done. But we had Rocky out there for 15 minutes. Roman Reigns coming out there next and everything, right? Both of them just glowing and gloating over everything that's been happening with Cody and everything. Seth Rollins eventually comes out, trying to issue out a challenge there to face Rock one-on-one on Raw tonight. That had the Brooklyn crowd just popping off on all cylinders. And then it was like, well, hell, maybe I can even go one-on-one with the Tribal Chief. Got a nice pop from the crowd on that one, but they were more interested in seeing The Rock. I mean, who wouldn't? Hey, not every day you get to say, I went to a WWE event days before WrestleMania, and I got to see The Rock wrestle one-on-one with Seth. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Roman, Rock, yeah, nah, that ain't happening. Instead, the person that would be facing Seth Rollins one-on-one would be Solo Sikoa. Man, he got mad boos from the freaking crowd. I felt bad for my guy. I really felt bad for my guy because I'm going, hey, yo, he didn't ask to be in the middle of this. This is just a position that they put my man in and everything. So he's got to, and look, with the opportunities that he's been given, he's done a phenomenal job in hitting them out the park. Although for my personal taste, I don't know how you guys feel, but sound off. I feel that he's talking just a little bit too much, and as a result of that, some of that mystique, some of that mysteriousnness about him, it's starting to just fade away, and I just would like for them to really go back to basics. Less is better. But you know, the main event match between him and Seth Rollins tonight, I enjoyed that for what it was worth. I think everybody knew that there was going to be some type of shenanigans that was going to be going down as far as interference in the match, or this person's going to run in and this person's going to run in. It played out exactly the way we thought it would, especially given the fact that when this match was set, we hear through Rock and Roman that, we whipped Cody so bad, you know, he ain't here tonight, and you're going, yeah, sure, you're right. Okay, yeah. But then final moments of this one-on-one matchup, we see everybody come out. We see Jey Uso. We see Jimmy. We see The Rock. Cody is there. Cody's getting ready to pull off a rock bottom on Rock over by the announcer's table, but Roman breaks that all up and everything, right? And it ends yet again in a situation where Roman and The Rock get another one up on Cody, whipping him like a government freaking mule. If you're following me on social media, I put a very interesting thing out there, which was, hey, yo, that was such a brutal beatdown that Cody had took last week. We got to do everything we can to make sure that going into that final week leading into WrestleMania, that somehow Cody gets his comeuppance. He somehow has to, right? Because if he doesn't, he's going to come off looking like a chump. Now, some people may look at how things had played out tonight, and they may say, nah, Lee, Cody didn't come off like a chump. If anything, it was a case yet again where the numbers game got the best of him. This really sets things up for WrestleMania weekend. But let's not also forget we got one more show, which is SmackDown. So anything can and will happen on SmackDown. But I'm really looking at what they did tonight. And if you were to tell me right now, Lee, I know we got SmackDown, but dog, that's it. Ain't going to be another Cody Rhodes, Roman/Rock confrontation. That's it. If you were to tell me that right now, it's official, that's it, I would go, well, damn. I don't really know if I'm feeling that, because we did not get a chance to see that savage, sadistical, truly an American nightmare come out of Cody Rhodes, where he says to Rock, yeah, I got your one up right here. I see you at WrestleMania, right? So, but I'm holding out hope. If you're like me and you're holding out hope that, okay, we got SmackDown, let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. We'll see how everything goes down there. But yeah, once again, Cody Rhodes getting beat like a government freaking mule there. But 18 minutes of this match between Solo Sikoa, Seth Rollins, and then Rock and Reigns end up going out there. By the way, to have the both of them in that show holding up their respected belts, that was just a nice touch of heelism at his finest. I just thought that was freaking badass, man. Loved it. Good stuff right there. Interesting developments that's going on with Dominic Mysterio, by the way, which really has you wondering, well, what's really going on here with Dominic? Because as of late, we've been seeing Dominic call his own audibles as far as what he feels would be best for the group there with Judgment Day and everything. And we've seen him befriend Andrade and, hey man, you know, you could do this for me, do this favor here, and right, we see him pushing for Andrade really hard and trying to go to bat for him to the point of, yo, Judgment Day telling you we got to do our very best to incorporate Andrade into our stable because he'd be a great asset. Judgment Day not really having, they didn't really want anything to do with that. And then we see Dominic somehow finagle his way into getting a WrestleMania match there against his father, Rey Mysterio, and the rest of the LWO there, as they all are going to be facing Legado del Fantasma and everything. Like, he's making these interesting power moves / alliances that has the rest of Judgment Day uneased. Right? I mean, they are just looking at this and they're like, yo, check your man. Like, what the hell is he doing? He's not running stuff by us. He's just calling his own audibles here. Like, this is supposed to be a team effort. And it's so funny that we're talking about this too, because not to bore you guys, but have you ever heard the terminology? What is it? I think it's called, matter of fact, let me type it up real quick here. It'll only take me just a couple of seconds. Hang on here. I think it's called groupthink. There's a reason why I'm bringing that up, because it ties into what's going on with Judgment Day right now. And it is groupthink. Groupthink is what I was thinking. Groupthink is the practice of thinking or making decisions as a group in a way that discourages creativity or individual responsibility. So when you look at what's been happening, I'm just going to give you that and that little brief definition. But if you want to really, you know, you're kind of like a bookworm, you like trivia stuff, research that, because when you look at some of the issues that's been going on with Judgment Day these past several weeks, I literally just got done reading a chapter for one of my classes on the topic groupthink, because it ties into a project I got to work on with some group members. And basically they're talking about, look, certain things can happen where, you know, maybe one person is just in the group that lets it be all about their voice, their opinions. They don't get feedback from others. Or you have other members in the group, they want to speak up, but they feel that if they do try to speak up and let their voice be heard, that they'll be ridiculed or their idea will greatly be criticized. Oh, that's a stupid idea. And so they'll shut up and all that. And groupthink, you know, bad things like that can cause groupthink. There is other good things that can happen, you know, which is, you know, good for the group and everything. But I'll let you guys research that. But I'm looking at what's going on with Dom, and I'm saying, yo, what really is going on here? What does Dom know that we, the fans, don't know yet? And I like that type of freaking storytelling. I really do. I like it, just like how I like some of my movies these days. I like watching a TV show or a movie where we're on that journey with that character as they are trying to unravel whatever mystery is going on in real time. And I like it when it's a situation where the same information that character has for us, the viewer, is the same information that we have. I sometimes don't like it when we get information as the viewer before the character, because it puts us in a headspin where we're focusing too much on, okay, well, we know what's up. How, you know, we lose focus on experiencing the character's journey to when they finally get that information. The only time I've ever seen it spun really good in such a way where, okay, we know what's up, but obviously the character don't know yet. The Shield, Michael Chiklis, shout out if you know what I'm talking about. When we found out, oh, snap. Well, when blah, blah, blah finds out, oh, watch out, there's going to be fireworks. Shout out if you know what I'm talking about. The Shield hit TV series back in the day on FX. So I like it more when we get these stories where it's like, okay, we see what's going on with Judgment Day. They're kept out of the loop. Dominic's making his own audibles here. Mommy, Rhea Ripley, has already spoken to him a couple of times. Frickin' Priest has spoken to him a couple of times. Things really got to an all-time, well, I won't say all-time, but it did get to a heated level where they're going, dude, what the hell? Right? So what does Dom know? What does he have over his Judgment Day partners that it feels to me, y'all can let me know, because I know some of you guys care about some other stuff, but I find this one to be very intriguing because are we watching Dominic Mysterio trying to make a power move from within? Is this a case right here where he is essentially getting his own head swollen to the point of he feels that for whatever success has come Judgment Day's way, at the root of it, he is the one that is responsible for that success, and that without him, they pretty much would wither away somewhere? What exactly is going on in his head? That is something that many of us are going to continue to be invested in long after WrestleMania is said and done with, because this is a unraveling story that's not going to be truly revealed by WrestleMania weekend. This seems like something that, as far as long-term storytelling goes, this seems like something that's going to continue to unravel for the next couple of months. You guys sound off. Let me know what you think about that one and everything. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that in a nutshell. More than meets the eye when it comes to Dominic Mysterio. Some in-ring action. We got DIY taking on New Day, taking on the Judgment Day. Judgment Day picking up the win. 5-minute match. Hey, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. 5 minutes. Gotta say, wasn't really a fan of that, right? We had those long opening segments there between Rock, Roman, Rollins. We had all that going on. And by the time we get to our first match of the evening, and this is during a commercial-free first hour of Raw, all we get is 5 minutes of in-ring action. Yeah, you can pretty much miss me with that one. We saw a nice video montage that had showed Sami Zayn talking with Chad Gable. Nice touch of adding music there, kind of making it feel like we were watching a soap opera there, as we learned that Sami Zayn has apparently asked Chad Gable for help to get ready for Gunther. And this pretty much was Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa doing their little training thing in Rocky 3, running on the beach and all that. I mean, that's literally the vibe that you had got when you were checking this out and everything. It was decent stuff, though. This was a good segue into a match Sami Zayn had against Bronson Reed. Sami picking up the win via DQ in about 12 minutes. For what we saw, what was presented tonight, it was good. You definitely had enough of a solid background as far as story goes. Even the way the DQ had came about, everything was good. And I would imagine that when it's all said and done, you come out of WrestleMania, Bronson Reed is most likely going to come up to Sami Zayn. Yo, that win that you got, that was a goddamn fluke as far as I'm concerned. You had one via DQ. You got saved by the freaking bell. No. We need to run this back. So let's freaking do this again. So it's a nice little setup there so that even no matter what happens with Sami WrestleMania, Bronson Reed could essentially be right there, and those two can literally pick up where they left off. I like that nice little touch that they got going on there. Elsewhere, Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae taking on Ivy Now and Maxine Dupree. Maxine, Ivy Now picking up the win. Look, I don't care what type of story arc you give me involving Maxine Dupree and all that. If it's still pretty woof to watch, it's still pretty woof to check out and everything. As far as the story, I'm really more interested in the story and how that is progressing. That's what I'm a little bit more interested in. I'm mildly interested. For the record, I'm mildly interested in seeing where they go with this story arc with Maxine Dupree and everything. But as far as what we saw of her tonight in the ring, yeah, got a lot of work ahead of her. I'm being very nice on that note because I know a lot of other people have more unsavory things to say about her. So I want to give a shout out to those of you that's tuning in live right now. Appreciate you guys. I do see your comments there in the chat, by the way. I'll definitely show you guys a lot of love in a little bit. Let's blaze through the rest of this talk of Monday Night Raw. Probably one of the best video packages of the night had to do with Drew McIntyre. This was a kick-ass video package that they did where he is basically in a funeral home and he turns to the camera. As it turns out, he's giving this eulogy. And he's giving this eulogy to CM Punk and everything. Talks about how Punk's brittle, fragile little body failed him yet again. It did him much worse than his time in the UFC. And man, when he gets ready to crack on Seth Rollins, he really hit the nail in the coffin. No pun intended. Did not plan on using those choice of words. It just rolled out that way. But he called Seth Rollins a thin-skinned guy who saw Jared Leto as the Joker and got excited. And he pretty much has been trying his best to imitate that character ever since. And you're just going... And now, before folks go, yeah, it's just the way that Drew delivered his lines with such great conviction and just the only way Drew McIntyre knows how. Just the way he delivered it, it was just, you were left bawling, right? You were just howling the way he delivered it. It was good stuff right here. Drew says Seth deserves all the pain and suffering and misery that's going to be coming to him. He's begged for it for a while now. He deserves to have the casket closed on his championship reign. He will then take the broken down old workhorse out back and pretty much put him out of his misery for good. Good stuff right there. I loved it. Good stuff. Ricochet taking on Ivar to, I think it is Joe's point in the chat here because he has a question. Do you think Ricochet deserves Money in the Bank after his performance on Raw tonight? Why am I basing it off of just one match would be my question, Joe. When really it should be, oh, hey, for strong consideration for your 2024 Money in the Bank winner, let's look at the totality within the past 6 to 7 months of this individual's work and say, should this person be put in a position where they are one of the final 2 candidates that should maybe receive the Money in the Bank briefcase? I think that's the better question. I hate when we as wrestling fans, when we just go off of one match and we go, yo, because of this one match, this person needs to have this coming to them. Or hey, man, after that performance tonight, we got to do like, no, we don't have to do anything, especially when the table has already been set. The players have already been picked, and we're trying to do our best to tell the finale of stories coming up at WrestleMania and everything, No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna base where somebody should be in their career based off of one match. Anybody that's checked out this show for a long extended period of time knows I never operate that way. Now, if you want to look at the totality of somebody's work and you say, look, for the past 6, 7, 8 months, this person's been on a freaking roll. Look at this match that they had with this person. Look at this match that they had with this person. Is it safe to say that this is a good enough argument that WWE should maybe strongly consider? But then even at that, you go, okay, well, where are they as far as the overall presentation goes? Sure, they've got the in-ring stuff down, but what's going on with their mic work? What's going on with their connection to the crowd? What's going on with, we got to string all that together as well. Nobody's saying that they've got to be, Hulk Hogan or a Roman or you fill in the blank. Nobody's saying they got to be at that level, but can they carry themselves well to the point of, right? And for those that have missed it, Ricochet, not for nothing. And look, you're only as good as your dance partner, as I always say here on the show. Ricochet had a really damn good dance partner in Ivar tonight. Of all the matches that was on the card for tonight, I would say this is the one match. If you have Raw on your DVR, check out this match. Definitely check this one out. It was a very solid match, gutsy performance, which sadly the match itself got a little bit, boom. What's up, man? What's up, Mish? Mish, what'd you say? Boom. Now, when you say boom incoming, my boom is good, right? Like, I think my bass level and all that is good, right? But no, like, freaking the match itself, I thought it was fantastic, although it got hurt a little bit by the commercial break. I hate that. I can't stand when we have a really good match, and you can tell when you have a really good match on your hands, because when you do, you know when you got a good one on your hands. Because when you do that picture-in-picture break or you cut to a commercial break, you get mad. And I found myself on a rare occasion getting mad. This was the one instance where I was saying, no. Can we just not even do a picture-in-picture, not even do... I really wish this match would have kicked off things after that almost 30-minute talking segment. Great segment, opener for Raw, but I wish we would have gotten this instead as the opener, and then that way it could have gotten all the time it need. Even if it was only going to run 10 minutes, at least that would have been 10 minutes uninterrupted. You feel where I'm coming from? But that was good in itself. Becky Lynch continuing on with her onslaught there of what went down with the MMA Hour interview. In case you guys are not aware, Rhea Ripley was a guest, and Becky Lynch called into the show. Then it turns out she was there, was talking trash to Rhea. There's about to be a brawl going down and all that. So Becky Lynch pretty much getting into the whole spiel right here. Try to call out Rhea Ripley. Adam Pearce wasn't having any of it. Rhea Ripley comes out. She somehow gets around him and like 15 other WWE security detail. Boy, that security detail sucks, man. The way that security detail was operating, they reminded me of the Washington Commanders defense. It's just, yeah, go ahead. You go ahead. You want the touchdown? Go ahead. Go ahead. No, seriously, we're good. We're good. We're getting paid either way, so go ahead, take it. Really? I don't know why I got the Washington Commanders defense team kind of sounding like Jerry Seinfeld there. Go ahead. It's yours. Take it. No, I don't need it. Really? I don't know what's going on with that. Damage Control. Shayna Baszler. Zoe Stark, Tegan Nox. Damage Control taking on Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Tegan Nox. A little bit of a dud for me personally. I'm not going to lie. I was very distracted. I was not into this for what it was worth. I can't believe I'm saying this, but there was only 2 really good matches from tonight's Raw that was really worth checking out for tonight's show. But despite that, I think more so the fact of what really carried the show, in my personal opinion, was the all-star power that it had on it yet again. You know, you had two matches in there. They did a really good job in hammering home what was going to be going down for WrestleMania week. I was telling my wife this earlier today, and Mish, if you're still around, offer your thoughts on this, because I've yet to see anybody talk about this, and I'd like for you guys to comment on this too. But do you think the days of WWE superstars going to public conventions is over and done with? Like, if it's not the major ones, obviously the New York Comic Cons, the San Diego Comic Cons, if it's not the major big name ones, I just feel as though WWE is now just, no, we're going to keep this in-house, because this is the first time ever of this magnitude that we're seeing WWE take advantage of a premium live event weekend where if you want to meet the stars, you come here. We got them here for you. Buy our tickets. Buy our VIP packages. And it's one of those things where I go, man, they had to been looking at how much money some of these superstars were potentially getting doing these little independent autograph signings and all that, and was going, you know what, there's got to be a way we can try and keep that money for ourselves. There's got to be a way we can keep it for ourselves. And, you know, the more that we can have in-house, you know, the better. Because, and I'm only speculating with this thought. I could totally be wrong with this thought, but I just kind of feel like, well, if a wrestler is able to do something outside of WWE, but maybe at the same time they get a little bit of help from WWE because they got to get permission, where they're able to make an appearance at a XYV convention. Yeah, WWE, obviously, their cut of that, they got to get a nice size chunk, right? Whereas versus what they're doing this week, I'm telling you, I'm already calling what they're doing WrestleMania week with these meet and greets a success. Mark my words, people. You are seeing the beginning of WWE capitalizing on this whole meet and greet weekend festivity thing, to the point I would not be surprised if for every single PLE that is to come in the distant future, they're going to keep rinsing and repeating, because there's so much money that can be made from these things that it's, yo, we got to take advantage of it. Like, we'd be fools not to. Sound off, let me know. I just kind of feel, I'm really good at looking at things like that and just kind of having that foresight of, you know, okay, this is where it kind of feels like we're going here with this. That could be a good thing or that could be a bad thing, because I know that for some independent promoters out there, you know, this is their livelihood. This is how they're able to, you know, take care of the bills and feed their family and all that. They're able to bring in 2-3 big names for their events. And if it's a case where now everything is just going to be in-house, WWE's like, no, we're not letting them out to go do, no, they're going to do meet and greets for us and nobody else. Just saying, it's just kind of interesting there. But no, they did a really good job in selling WrestleMania on this episode for what it was worth, but not as good as last week, in my personal opinion. So that's Raw in a nutshell. If you guys been enjoying yourself so far, if you haven't hit the like. Only takes a second. Helps a brother out big time as it puts more eyeballs on the content. So do that, and thanks. Do I think that Cody and Seth should win now after this beatdown? Okay, so you're asking for a prediction. I'm not going to be getting into any predictions, Joe, until Wednesday. Wednesday is when I will be doing predictions, because there are so many matches. Because let me tell you what's going to happen, Joe. If I get into one match and offer a prediction, then it's going to be, well, what about this match? Well, what about that match? Well, what about this match? Well, what about... So rather than go through all that, I'm going to go through predictions either on the Wednesday, Thursday show for you guys. I was going to say Friday, but there's no way I can pull off a Friday show. All right, so look, let's get into this CM Punk news, right? I got some nice audio clips ready to go here in regards to CM Punk. By the way, a little bit of breaking news. Shout out to the good folks over there at Fightful. They are reporting, as they have confirmed with AEW, that there are ongoing cuts that's in the works right now. And there is a boatload of names that is expected to be released. I know while Raw was on, they reported that Stu Grayson has been released by AEW. Dasha Fuentes has been released by AEW as well. I love how there was one fan out there that said, oh, this is all because of the CM Punk interview. And it's like, boy, that is like some really far freaking reaching, isn't it? I mean, seriously, good God almighty. Chill, my man, chill. Like, everything's it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious. But no, more names is coming. But in case you missed it, you didn't check it out yet, CM Punk did a little interview earlier today, MMA Hour, with Ariel Helwani. And so many topics were covered. I mean, where do I even begin with this? I know ultimately where we need to spend a big bulk of our time, and that is CM Punk breaking his silence on his exit from AEW, but also talking about the incident there involving Jungle Boy Jack Perry and everything. But I just, there's so many nuggets of sound bites. Because as I was preparing the show, I'm going, do I really want to take the time out to read transcripts of what CM Punk said? Or is this a rare case where I just go, you know what, give credit where credit needs to be due, tag, do whatever you got to do, play actual audio. Just don't show videos. Like, yeah, I got to play audio on this one. So one of the first things that just made me really chuckle, I know I'm kind of taking things a little bit out of context, but we're going to spend a big bulk on the AEW exit, Jack Perry. It's kind of tied in together in one clip that we're going to load up for you guys in a bit. But this part about CM Punk, shout out to Mish from Wrestling Soup, CM Punk calling out reporters with friends in AEW over the Hangman Page drama. That's a good soundbite right there. I just got to let this play.
Ever checking with you.
That kind of took over you, perhaps?
No, getting out there and seeing, reporters that report shit about you like it's fact without ever checking with you to see if stuff happened, who are openly friends with other wrestlers. It's just fucking high school. It's high school, cliquey, mean girls, drama bullshit. And I get there and I see these goofs, and I just, lose my temper.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I mean, it's just so refreshing to hear these so-called journalists, right? Like, they think they know it all. And like, the ones I'm talking about, the Dave Meltzers, right? Oh, this had happened, and obviously, it's like, okay, keep searching. Get the lie right now. Like, if you need 5 minutes to get your lie right, we'll give you 5 minutes so you can clean it up, and we'll come back to you. We'll buy you some time. It's all good, but like, yeah, it's kind of funny because one of my classes deals with communication theory, and there's an interesting topic. I literally just turned in a paper on this topic, the agenda setting theory. And basically what the agenda, stay with me now because this ties into what CM Punk is talking about. I'm not going to be long-winded with this. I'm going to make my point in like 2 minutes, and we're going to keep it moving along because there's so many delicious CM Punk sound bites. I'm fiending to get to, right? But it's called the agenda setting theory. And basically what the agenda setting theory revolves around is, in a nutshell, I'm going to break it down in a nutshell, layman's terms. The media dictates to the public, so to speak, what is considered to be important. So I give you a perfect example. If you make your rounds, you check out the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock news, right? And you just keep seeing this one particular story that they just keep hammering home during those telecasts. You're going to be left with the impression, well, damn, this must be really important because this is all that pretty much has been talked about all day and everything. And, okay then, right? And so you have with the agenda setting theory, and unfortunately, in this day and age, I mean, if you guys know, we're in a period where a whole lot of misinformation, unverified facts of reporting is running rampant. We've got mofos that are just throwing shit out there, hoping that it sticks so it makes them look like, see, we told you, but when they're wrong, they don't know how to man up and go, yeah, we obviously, in the case right here with CM Punk, this is a very delicate and unique situation because without naming names, he is literally telling you that, we've got people in AEW and high up positions that are friends with certain wannabe reporters spreading all kinds of misinformation, false statements, and all this other, right? It's a hell of a form of slander and defamation in the whole 9 yards when you really get to the heart of the matter. Another thing that had made me chuckle big time. I loved hearing about CM Punk describing the last time he met Vince McMahon. I just howled in tears. Like the visuals of CM Punk telling the story really, like, you got to go out of your way to look at the visuals. But I loved hearing what CM Punk had to say about the last time he met Vince McMahon, ran into him and all that. Here you go. Let me play this.
Workout. Yeah. And then I saw him walking down into the gym. He came in for his daily workout. Yeah.
And what was that like?
He gave me a big hug. He said, "Welcome home. Good to see you. Let's connect after I work out." And I was like, "All right." Haven't seen him since.
You didn't connect?
No. I think some stuff came up, Ariel.
Oh, I thought maybe literally like.
Yeah, some stuff had came up. All right. It was the whole Janelle Grant situation. We'll circle on back to that later on. I mean, it's a good segue right now, but I want to stick to CM Punk. Just remember Janelle Grant. Remind me if I don't bring it up, but I should remember because that's an interesting development in itself. Yeah, he's kind of busy there, Ariel. By the way, Ariel did a phenomenal job with this edition of MMA. It's so funny because myself and other colleagues in the podcasting world, we all were throwing around names of people who we thought, when CM Punk finally does break his silence, who should he be talking to? Who is he going to give that first big interview to? And the two names that kept running in my mind, really it was one. And I was going, Ariel. It's got to be Ariel. Why not Ariel? He's the freaking man. He has done successful interviews with CM Punk before. There's already that rapport, that connection and all that. Why not do it with Ariel? And the second option for me was, how about Jim Cornette? Like, that should be, I always thought, and I was thinking Jim Cornette long before Punk even did the plug there for Cornette last week. I was saying, he's got to either do Ariel or Cornette. So it's interesting just how things had turned out. But Ariel, phenomenal job with that interview. Good stuff right there. Everybody, because I ended up watching about half of everything from that stream earlier today. All right. And now the meat and potatoes, the main event. I mean, there's more juicier stuff and everything, right? Of course, there is CM Punk talking about when his latest injury had occurred, and how the recovery process has been. He puts over WWE, talking about how this go round, he's listening to them and he knows that they have his best intentions at heart as far as how they're looking out for him, right? And he appreciates that. He talks about how the company this go round, everybody is so much more friendlier, versus how it was before. And, it's like night and day, essentially. But let's get to the main meat and potatoes. CM Punk talking about AEW, his exit from AEW, and this little incident there involving Jack Perry. This is about 7 minutes. I may pause and jump in. I mean, it's a lot to process, right? I'll probably most likely pause and just chime in here and there, but the total clip itself is about 7 minutes. 7 minutes of spicy juiciness. I said spicy. I gotta make sure I put that tongue out. Spicy juiciness here. Let's go ahead and let's load this.
And he's like, hey, I really need your help.
And he says, real glass, why don't you cry about it? Where are you when this is said?
I was in my locker room.
Did you feel like that was directed at you?
Yes.
Why?
Okay, it obviously was directed at me.
Well, because, okay, so for those that may not know, apparently he had a trip planned. He wanted to use glass. You were consulted. You said, why would you use glass? Correct me, you lived it. So I'm trying to bring people up to speed.
This is one of those things where it's just like, there's all these rumors about NDAs.
Yes.
There's a big difference between not being allowed to talk about some shit or just not wanting to talk about some shit. I don't necessarily want to litigate this again.
I gotta pause there. Because when he said that, I put out this tweet, and I'm going to pull up that tweet right now. I had a couple of knuckleheads, and I pretty much hit their comments and blocked them because they were being dumbasses. But when Punk had initially said that, all I could think about was the journalists. All the wannabe journalists that were jumping out there. And I never heard this choice of language that CM Punk had used just now, what you just heard. All the reporting that was going on, I never saw not one reporter jump out there and go, well, not for nothing, but all you kept NDAs. Can't say nothing. Tony Khan can't say nothing. Bucks and them, they can't say nothing. CM Punk, he can't say nothing. Like, right? So I put out this tweet. I said, all those wannabe journalists talking about NDAs and Punk attacked Tony Khan, according to their sources. All that crap went up in smoke with CM Punk doing that new interview. Khan lacks true leadership as he cares more about fantasy booking and being one of the boys. Pathetic. And then I had a couple of people that were responded to this tweet I had put out. Is it a tweet now? Is it a tweet? What the hell is it now? Anyway, post. Oh, so because CM Punk had said this, it must be true. It must be true. Laugh out loud, OMG. So I'm looking at this, right? More than one person was saying this type of stuff. And the first thing I did, I quietly pulled up their profile. First thing I'm looking for, okay, did they watch this interview in its entirety? Can I see them responding to clips? I know this was a rather lengthy interview, so maybe they responded to some clips. No, and no. In the case of one person, the last thing they were talking about was, what's that game y'all like to play? Some of y'all like to play Fortnite. I saw somebody doing that. I'm like, okay, so like I see nothing in here in regards to this interview that CM Punk just, okay, so they literally don't know what the hell they're talking about. At least it's coming off that way. They're coming off uninformed. They're coming off unprepared. They did not do any proper research. They just saw the name CM Punk and they just got all over it, right? That's the name of the game. And I responded to this. I quoted myself, and I had put this post out. I followed it up. Let me see if I can. Where's my quote? Yep, there it is. Hang on. Can I pull it up? I just want to pull it up. Let me pull it up. Hang on here. Sometimes this can be a bitch to pull up. I'll try to remember from earlier. I'm going to try to go off of memory, but I basically said, let me see if I got this straight. Yeah, it's coming back to me now. I don't even need to look it up. But I basically had said, okay, so let me see if I got this straight. As far as who to believe, am I going to take the word of a guy in Tony Khan who has had incident after incident after incident occur in his company where the facts have been reported and the way he has just handled certain situations, he has just come off looking like a chump? Am I going to really trust the word? Because according to Tony Khan, everything's great. Everything's great. It's perfect. It's great. We're doing so good right now. AEW rules. We're Peaches, cream, rainbows. That's a really good question. But peaches, cream, rainbows. Watch AEW Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, Battle of the Belts. We got a pay-per-view that's going to be coming up. It's going to be great. We're doing so many great things right now. There's no problem. We're the greatest promotion on earth. AEW, where the big boys play. I mean, AEW, where the best wrestle. And yet we've got veteran wrestlers, some of which have never had a bad rep before, as far as reports. Like, no, true professional through and through. Yeah, man, you definitely want to work with this person. They are awesome. They talk about their respected experience in dealing with AEW. And then we've got these overzealous fans that jump out there and attack this person. Slander, I mean the whole 9 yards. Am I really going to trust at this point what Tony Khan is saying, or am I going to trust the word of an over 20-year veteran that has made money? He knows what it is all about as far as making money, as far as, your brand, your name, your likeliness. Not to mention, his lawyer can easily go, yes, everything that this individual, yes, they did. In fact, yes, this is how it went down. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I am aware of the names in question that CM Punk did not mention, and I can confirm that everything that this guy is saying, like, are we really going to jump out there and go, this guy doesn't have receipts? Maybe that's how you and a couple other people might operate. You may do some shit and you ain't got no receipts to back it up when push comes to shove. But if I gotta choose, and this isn't even the fanboy in me of CM Punk, if I gotta choose, I mean, really, let's keep rocking.
You say again, you never talked about it publicly, but
no,
you mean
I guess I haven't, but that's the thing. So Tony's big idea was separate show. We're going to separate everybody. And I said, that'll never work. Just let me go. Just get me out of here. Just pay me my money. I've already been off TV. I hurt this arm. Just get me out of here. No, I can't let you go. Why? Just let me go. Who cares? It's best. I mean, these guys don't want me here. This isn't a real business. This isn't a business predicated on making money, drawing money, selling tickets, doing business. It's not what it was sold to me as. So let me go. No, I can't let you go. Now
that's interesting. Let me pause right there. I'm not going to be long-winded with this one, but I just think that's interesting. Now, as many of us remember from the very first, what was it? From the very first AEW show, not All In, but remember that one weekend, and there was rumors that CM Punk, like right after AEW had formed, there was rumors that maybe CM Punk was going to, and CM Punk had pretty much rebuked those rumors. He was like, hey, I did, in fact, have some type of dialogue with the Young Bucks and Kenny and them, and but as far as actually getting down to business goes, we didn't even do that. There was just basically a text message exchange saying, hey, be awesome if you could come to the show, and Punk's whole headspace, he wasn't quite right. But remember how you had all those reports that was floating around and everything? I'm sure looking back then, and I wish Ariel would have somehow slid this question in there and everything, but I'm curious if way back then, when he didn't jump on the bandwagon and, okay, let's make it happen, if Punk was in a position where he was saying, you know what, let's see how this company does. I'm just going to be watching from over here on the sidelines. Let's see how they do. And then, but to hear him say in his own words, hey, look, the way that this was pitched to me, the way that this was sold to me, hey, okay, I'm all in. And now that I went all in, okay, it's not as you advertised it. It's not as you promised it. Optics mean everything. Optics mean everything. This almost sounds like a bad Tinder date. Like, okay, you're looking at the photograph of a hot, brunette or blonde, and she's got some nice double D's, nice hips, nice behind, right? Nice, nice little waist, right? She ain't skinny, but she, hey, maybe she's as thick as Lala Anthony. I love Lala Anthony. That girl is fine like a mother, okay? But, right, you're like, swipe whatever. You meet this girl in person, and sadly, the only thing that's big is the belly. And there's a big old behind somewhere. It's flat, but, right, it don't look nothing like picture from Tinder. Right? Sounds like you got a bad bill of goods. Okay? That's what it sounds like right here, doesn't it? I mean, my God, keep it rocking and rolling.
New show, you're gonna have blah, blah, blah. And then the second day we have this show, I'm sitting in catering, minding my own business, and Tony Schiavone comes and gets me, and he's like, hey, I really need your help. And I was like, what? He's like, Jack is, cussing me out, and he's cussed out Mike Mansouri, and he cussed out Daryl from production, and he's cussing out the doctor right now. Why? What? And I was immediately like, dude isn't supposed to be here. I was told people are getting separated, so there's not problems, and you don't want me involved in this, because just like everything else I've explained before, like, y'all need to handle this, because if you don't, I'm going to handle it, and you're not going to like the way I handle it. Prophetic words. So he's begging me, now please, he drags me out of catering. I go up. Hook and Jack are doing an angle. I don't know anything about Jack going on vacation. All I know is there's a litany of people that don't want, they work one day a week and they don't want to. So they want to show up and wrestle and then film vignettes and then sit at home for 4 weeks. Great, not my company. Do what you want. But not on my show. That was my attitude. So I said, Tony, you really want me doing this? Yeah. And I walked up to Jack, and he was sitting in a car. What he wanted to do, it was a rental car. What he wanted to do was smash the window of the rental car with a pipe. And I was just like, it's a rental car. And I very politely, because I like Jack, I was just like, Doc's told you no, Daryl's told you no, Mike's told you no, Shivani's told you no, and now I have to tell you no. And apparently,
but Dad, what? It's a rental car. I want to it's a rental car. I want to it's a rental car. Real glass, Daddy. Real glass. I want to it's a rental car.
You've cussed them all out. So I'm telling you, no. We don't do that here. If you want to do this, go to Wednesday and do it. Right? And he had no problem. He said, okay. He said, well, I just thought it was a really cool idea. And I said, it might be, but this is a rental car. Boys ruin it for the boys. You're going to smash the window of a rental car and you're going to return it with no fucking window. And now whatever national budget hurts, whatever is going to be like, don't rent cars to pro wrestlers anymore. This is a thing that's happened.
Right.
This is, so I wasn't trying to throw my weight around. I wasn't like, this is my show and you gotta get out of here. I was just like, this is fucking dumb, man. And he wanted to do it so he didn't have to fly back to Canada. And I, sorry, man. We're privileged to be in this business. We're privileged to do this for a living. Like, I get it. I didn't want to go to Canada either. All the flights were delayed, canceled. Everybody's travel sucked. But to come to this new show when everyone's supposed to be separated, to get rid of all the drama, and then, swearing at the doctor because the doctor's like, it's real glass. You're gonna, like, shit's gonna go in your eye. Like, and I get it. I used to be that kid that was like young and I want to do this, but there's a safe way to do it. And I politely explained that to him. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cuss at him. I was just like, I very much just said, we don't do that here. This is Saturday. It's a different show. If you want to do stuff like this, do it on Wednesday. That was it. I didn't think there was going to be a problem. He obviously took something very business-minded, very personally. And that's fine, because I've done that before too. But it's very much who he's friends with. And, shit never got squashed. Nobody's in charge. And it turned into what it turned into.
So
let me jump in here. Okay. So this is what I don't understand, right? I mean, y'all help me understand this now. First of all, how old is Jack Perry? If anybody can post that, like, what is he now? 25, 26? Or is he younger than that? He's like 23, 24. First of all, tell me how old he is. But you're hearing this and you're just going, man, this Jungle Boy Jack Perry, he sounds so immature. He has not put enough of a thought process into what he's talking about. And man, if he can just remove himself from the situation, actually listen to the words that's coming out of his mouth, get out of his own way, like, yeah, you know what? This really is a bad idea. I really shouldn't be doing this. You know what? If anything, maybe I should see if me and the rest of the boys, Tony Khan, can get some money together and we can go see if we can purchase a used vehicle, a used limousine, whatever, right? Patch it up, do whatever paint job we need to do, but make that joint look as presentable as possible. And maybe somehow we can use that instead of doing something with a rental, because, yeah, we don't need that kind of rep. We don't need to mess it up for more folks involved in the wrestling industry. We don't need that type of drama. I mean, if anybody with common sense is hearing all of this, they're either going to say that, they're going to have that logic of thinking, or they're going to put themselves in a position where they go, okay, well, this is how he wants to do things on his Saturday show. Okay, well, I'm going to take him up on his offer then, and I'm going to make sure I let Tony Khan and them know, hey, whatever you do, I don't want to be on that Saturday show, not as long as he's calling shots on that one. Because remember, CM Punk, he basically, the network, TNT, they basically were like, okay, look, yeah, you want to do another show? You want to do a Saturday show? Okay, well, look, we'll give you the green light for the Saturday show. But CM Punk, he's got to be featured. We got to feature this guy. He has to be, we want Punk. Punk brings in the number. Like, they knew what time it was. So that's why there was so much leeway there, and Punk having say on the roster, the look, right, the feel, the commentators, and all of that. I know Kevin Kelly is out of a job now, but I have this gut feeling that if Punk was still in the position that he was in when he was still in AEW, Kelly probably would still be there to this day, most likely. Just saying, right? But you hear all of that, and you're just going, how does this make sense? Because, like, it really doesn't. Nobody told me how old Jungle Boy Jack Perry was, by the way. I guess I got to do it myself. Hang on here. See how old this guy is. I'm going to say 25. I'd be shocked if he was younger than that. Let's see how old he is. 26. So he's going to be 27. He's going to be 27 this summer in June. Keep rocking and rolling.
Clearly a shot at you, as you said. Match is over. He goes to the back. What happens?
I went to Tony, and I was just like...
Which Tony, by the way?
Tony Khan.
Okay.
And I was like, please handle that. Like, please. And he was like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, I'm not telling you what to do. Just be the boss, please. Like, I'm tired of this shit. You know? Like, I told you this was a mistake. I told you separate shows wasn't going to work, and now we're all here, and, you know, like, please handle it. Because if you don't, you're not going to like the way I handle it.
Did he handle it?
No. No.
So you did?
Yes.
What happened?
Jack came back from his match. I was the next match. I'm sitting there. And I got people with me. I'm not going to say who they are, you know, because I got a lot of friends who work there, and I wish them all well, and I don't want them to be punished because they're friends with me, you know. And I walk up to him, and I'm just like, Jack, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit, like, on TV, you know? And he's just like, well, if you got a problem about it, do something about it. And I was just like, man, come on, man. You know, I'll fucking kill you. Like, what are we doing, you know? And it just, you know, it's like Chael says, sometimes you just can't let you get close, you know? I thought I was doing a responsible thing, you know? I didn't punch anybody. I just choked somebody a little bit. Samoa Joe was there, told me to stop, and then I quit. I turned to Tony and I said, this place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit. I went to my room, and then Joe and Jerry Lynn came and got me, and they're like, let's just go out there and kill it. And I was just too fired up, and I'm fired up now, and I'm probably going to regret, you know, talking about all this shit, but that's what happened.
Okay, so for those that don't know, you actually did go out and wrestle.
Yes.
Is that all just a blur for you, that match? And he said...
So, yeah, all right. So 7+ minutes of some juiciness there, right? Kudos to Punk for being a true professional. I mean, he pretty much quit after that, but then decided, okay, you know what? Let me go do this match, right? I mean, that is true professionalism at its finest, because that just would have been, it was justified, but at the same time, look, cards are subject to change when you go to some of these wrestling events, right? You think about what happened with Jeff Jarrett when he was supposed to take on China. Nah, man, I ain't losing to no woman. You're going to have to pay me, son. Right? I mean, Punk, and he was justified. He could have easily just said, no, you know what? I'm good. Bump this. I've already told this guy. I mean, listen to that for a second. Tony Khan, what do you want me to do? That is not the definition of a leader. A leader is anybody that has actually rolled up their sleeves, signed a W-2, and is working somewhere knows a good boss when they see one. A good boss is someone who is able to take charge of a situation. A good boss is somebody that can look at whatever situation is being presented to them, and right then and there on the spot, okay, this is how it's going to go down as far as delegation goes. We're going to do blah, 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 blah. We're going to do that. All right? Let's get to it, right? They're going to do that. They are not going to be looking to pass the buck to somebody else. What should I do? What do you want me to do? Well, you handle... No, they're not going to do all of that crap. They're not going to do all of that crap. that's just very, very, and look, I appreciate the fact that Punk did say later on in the interview that, Tony Khan is a very nice guy. He wishes him the best and everything. And, right, that's nice of him to, essentially take the high road and all of that. It really is. I'm not being funny. No, hang on.
Why don't you cry?
I'm not being funny about that. I think that's cool that he had, said all those nice things. But, anybody that has actually worked a day in their life, if you got a boss that's operating like that, where essentially, yeah, just come on in. The door's open. My mouth is open. Take a massive shit in it. I mean, go ahead. I mean, just go ahead. It's okay, right? You're going to let so many people step all on you in the process, right? It's like, okay, is this really a boss, or is this person more of a fan? Is this person more of a, right, you fill in the blanks. I love the one line that Punk had said. I'm trying to see if I can find it, but there was something he said in regards to, yeah, here it is. I love this one. This is like 40 seconds. He talked about how AEW, how CM Punk believed AEW was an alternative to what WWE was, but 90% of the problems he had or identified about AEW were the very things that made AEW different and everything. But I like how he talks about how will AEW continue to exist. Listen to this soundbite. I thought this was interesting.
Pro wrestling. I was sold on AEW being very much an alternative to what WWE was. And, like, that's the biggest shame to me, is like, this is the last chance. Like, I like competitors. I like guys being able to be like, oh, well, I can go over here and make X amount of money. That's good for the business. It's good for the boys, but when you're there, I like guaranteed money almost kind of ruined pro wrestling, like if you had to get paid based off the house, the place would be drastically different.
I mean, he's got a good point. But where's that part about, also talked about his UFC run. There's loads of stuff that he got into, but I'm missing the thing about AEW. There's a really great line that he had said about AEW and how long it'll continue to stay in business. And in a nutshell, he basically said AEW will continue to stay in business for as long as Tony Khan is willing to fund it. And he further went on to say, look, if you're measuring your success by the fact that some guy, and he was taking a shot at Dave Meltzer, some guy gave your match a 5-star rating, but you're not even in a sold-out arena. You barely were able to fill up 2/3 of the seats. He basically is, Punk basically said, you ain't thriving. You're not really doing business, right? Right. It's a completely different type of beast. What he's been doing, what he's been accustomed to doing all these years versus what's going on over there in AEW. It just gives, sadly, that validity, a little bit more validity to, oh, hey, there's Thunder Rosa, or there's Willow. Hey, there's Edge, Adam Copeland. And, you're happy to see them, but you realize that they're only playing to a crowd of like 1,400 people. And the arena typically, right, they will have like maybe 15,000 in attendance or whatever, or more than that. And it's like, wow, like a TNA show is doing a little bit better packing than. Very insightful, interesting stuff, just well-rounded. They had him for a good minute, loads of other stuff that he had talked about, but I know that's the main gist that had people talking was the AEW exit. And I know that there were a few people on the AEW roster that jumped out there, and they pretty much, without mentioning Punk's name, hey, AEW is the greatest place on earth. And it's like, okay, because look, we saw that case go down with LaFisto where she said what she said, and then there was like this synchronized event of postings at the same time from a bunch of AEW wrestlers that were, without mentioning her name, throwing her under the bus. And right, so we've already seen a couple of postings here and there and everything. I am very curious to see how Tony Khan responds to this. We know that in the past, when certain things have been said about him where his company is painted in a negative light, he has lashed out like a spoiled little child, cannot take the smallest form of constructive criticism because he looks at that as a personal attack. The only thing that Tony Khan has said, as far as, when the news went down with CM Punk, he said nothing. Instead, he decided to give a RIP to Vontae Davis, who was an NFL star, 2-time Pro Bowler, who passed away suddenly and everything. And, but that's basically it, right? So he is playing it smarter this go round. I appreciate the fact that he is, maybe this is kind of one of those situations where, you know what, I don't want to box with this guy on social media and go back and forth about the incident in question because, you guys can speculate. Either Punk's got him dead to rights or it's rehashing the past. Why stir up the past when, Punk's moved on, AEW has moved on. And you can genuinely tell from this interview where Punk's mindset is at. He's pretty much in a place where, hey, he's moved on. He's just stating some of the things that he noticed when he was there. It's unfortunate that cooler heads couldn't prevail, but you're just hearing all of this stuff. And you're thinking about some of the other incidents that has happened in the past, and it's plain clear as day that Tony Khan is more interested in being friends with people as opposed to actually being their boss. And when you mix those two up, it makes doing business really, really hard. It really does. It really does. I cannot stress that enough. But, the fact that he's radio silent on this, honestly, if I was Tony Khan, I wouldn't even respond to it. The next time they're getting ready to do an event soon, right? AEW's getting ready to do a pay-per-view soon. So I would imagine when it comes to the press conference post-show there, I would imagine somebody of the media outlet is going to ask Tony Khan, because he loves getting questions. I would imagine somebody's going to ask him about it. And this isn't a prediction. This is a spoiler, people. I would imagine Tony Khan is going to say, I appreciate you asking that question, but I refuse to talk about that. That's definitely a topic I'm not interested in going into. I know you had to ask, it's part of your job, and I appreciate that, but I'm not going to talk about that. And that's honestly right response. That's honestly the right response. There's a lot of good things that AEW is doing right now, yet at the same time, we'll talk more about that on another show. But yeah, so look, that's that. If you guys want me to circle back on certain things from the interview with Ariel, just post something in the chat. Like if you want to pick my brain on something, comment or question, just post it. I am reading what you guys are saying, and I'll show you some love. But hey, Raw poll, let's go there. I had to ask you guys, what did you think about this week's Monday Night Raw? Seeing what you guys are saying on X. This is how it's looking. 9% of you are staying in the middle. 14% of you are giving the show a thumbs down, while 76% of you are giving it a thumbs up. Appreciate you guys that have voted via X. Meanwhile, over on YouTube, let's see if we have a little bit of a pulse here on YouTube. pulse as far as feedback goes. I put that thing up pretty early too, that poll. Okay, all right, almost the same. 40% thumbs down and 60% thumbs up for this edition of Raw. Appreciate you guys that had cast your vote. Once again, in regards to the Bray Wyatt documentary, I did not get a chance to watch it. True story, I'm actually going to watch it as soon as I'm done with the show here. So I'll be mixing down the audio and all that, and then I plan on checking it out. So I will definitely be talking about it on the next show for you guys, on top of doing WrestleMania predictions and all that. But look, that Roman Reigns biography documentary, let me tell you how interested I was in checking it out. As soon as I heard, and I heard rather late into the week that went past, oh, there's a A&E biography on Roman Reigns. Sadly, through YouTube TV, the A&E channel is still not available. We just got, the CW. We finally got the CW as part of YouTube TV some months back. And, still, like, as long as I've been a YouTube TV subscriber, still cannot get A&E. So I had to do a workaround, and my workaround is the app called Friendly TV. I don't know how many of you guys have heard of that, but you can basically watch Me TV. You can watch A&E. I think maybe the History Channel. You'd be surprised, like, if you're a YouTube TV customer, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you're like, yo, I should have this channel. I should have this channel. Like, but you don't. And so the alternative, you get Friendly TV, which I highly recommend. The thing with Friendly TV, great affordable prices. Everything starts at $7.99 a month. The middle tier package is definitely what you want to go for, because you'll be able to watch your shows live, record them in HD quality, and you can watch them on up to 2 TVs. As far as DVR capacity, there is a limit, but it's unlimited. That sounds confusing, right? Let me explain. So with that $9.99 tier package, you can record as many shows as possible up to a 2-month time span. So you can have 2 months worth of recordings. And then after that, stuff is just going to start being overwritten. Okay? I didn't see the third tier because I wasn't interested in, what happens with the third tier. I didn't get a chance to see that. But no, I did that late Sunday night going into Monday morning while I was working on some classwork assignments. I said, let me watch this Roman Reigns documentary. Man, that was so damn good. Let me ask you guys. Do you think that WWE, A&E, whoever was in charge of producing this, do you think they had to twist the arms of the immortal Hulk Hogan, Triple H, Paul Levesque, John Cena, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? I'm missing somebody in there. HBK, Shawn Michaels. Do you think they had to twist those guys' arms to get them to talk about Roman Reigns? Hell to the nah. Hell to the nah. Game recognizes game. All right? GOAT recognizes GOAT. Steve Austin. I can't believe I blanked out on Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin. They got him as well. Nah, I promise you, they did not have to twist any of those guys' arms. John Cena, he had the most surprising comment for me, because he said something along the lines of, he's a guy that looks at metrics. Basically he follows the numbers, and he's talking about merchandise sales and gate attendance, pay-per-view buy rates, and he's going through all of this. and he's giving Roman Reigns his flowers and everything, and saying Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, is truly, the greatest WWE character of all time, one of the best champions of all time, right? You're like, yo, that's game recognizing game right there. I love the way all of that was presented. I went into it going, okay, tell me something that maybe I don't know about Roman Reigns, because for the most part, I know about his origins and all of that. And I thought they did a really good job in documenting all of those things. However, they did do a little bit of a revision of history. They did alter it a little bit in a few areas there that kind of made me chuckle. For starters, I thought it was funny that when they were talking about how the Shield was formed, right? Because I'm literally watching this and I'm going, wonder how updated this is. I wonder if they're gonna get CM Punk, right? Like maybe they're gonna get his feedback, and he talks about, right? Because remember when the Shield had formed, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, they all were down there in developmental and everything. And who was the guy that originally was slated in the Roman Reigns position? I cannot remember the guy right now, but I'm just trying to picture who the guy was. It wasn't Mason Ryan, was it? Who was the original guy that was supposed to be in the Shield? But he got bumped. And I remember CM Punk, he was like, okay, yeah, I like this idea of these guys. Okay, well, let's bring this guy up. Let's bring this guy up and bring that guy up. It wasn't the original trio and all of that. But eventually, in regards to what would become the Shield and how they got called up and all that, it just would have been nice to get CM Punk's perspective on when all of that went down, right? It would have been badass. The other thing that was just not even mentioned, oh yeah, Roman Reigns, he was a star when you first see him, you look at him. And I remember when the Shield had came up and they were on the roster for a handful of months. I remember myself and many others in the community were looking at these guys, and we were already thinking ahead as far as, okay, who looks like they've got that it factor? Who looks like, yeah, man, they are going to be a force to reckon with for years to come, without a shadow of doubt. And a lot of us looked at Dean Ambrose and said, hell to the yeah, Dean Ambrose is going to be the freaking man. I'm trying to think as far as like the exact order. I think it's safe to say everybody looked at Dean Ambrose number one. I think Roman Reigns, I'm just trying to think. Roman Reigns, I'm going to go with my list because I'm thinking how the community was reacting at the time. That's like very difficult. But I know for me, way back then, I looked at the three of them and I said, okay, who you got as a successful solo act and who's questionable? I looked at Dean Ambrose. I said, yes, hell yeah, Dean Ambrose. I looked at Seth Rollins and I said, I'm not really sure about this guy. I don't really know. I'm on the fence on him. I looked at Roman Reigns and I said, he's got the look. He definitely has the look. Maybe. But when I looked at who's the weakest link of the group, I thought it was Rollins. So it's amazing how everything had turned out, all things considered, right? I just like how WWE just kind of glossed over that. They like did not even acknowledge that whatsoever. Everything else I felt was very near and dear and most accurate for the most part, right? to the point that even me bringing that little bit of stuff up, some could say, you're just nitpicking. And you know what? Go ahead. I'll take that. That's fine, right? But great presentation of this documentary. The thing that really tugged at my heart the most was Rosie. For starters, the fact that they actually recorded some type of actual footage of him talking about his brother, Roman Reigns. What was that? Footage from 2017. And then the producer, off to the side, literally saying to Roman verbatim what Rosie had to say about him. And Rosie, hey, this guy was always destined for greatness. You could see it, when he was a little kid, when he was doing his thing in football, like you just knew, and talked about how proud he was of him. And to just see Roman crack, right? Because you're looking at this, and as you're seeing how Roman Reigns is being presented throughout this documentary, okay, he's staying in character. There are some parts where, he's giving you the full 1-1, but for the most part, he's staying in character. Okay, I get that. I can play along with this. That's fine, right? As long as you keep it real. And he was keeping it real and everything. But man, to have Rosie essentially, what's the right words I'm looking for? You have this footage, you have this audio of this man who is essentially speaking from beyond the grave. And it's obvious Roman never heard this before. That got him. That scene for me, looking at Roman, and he's just grabbing his beard, he's looking up at the ceiling, and you're waiting for him to say something like, what do you got to say in regards to that? And he cracks a smirk, and there's that sense of realism, right? You're okay. Now we're getting to the man behind the character. Now we're getting to Joe. And just when you're ready for him to speak, he doesn't say anything. Whatever he maybe was getting ready to say, he catches himself. He just kind of gives a little bit of a slight nod as he's just staring off, and you're just like, oh, I got goosebumps over that. That was pretty emotional. I remember being on the air, not necessarily live, but I remember doing the show that respected week. And that week when Rosie had passed, back in 2017, it was a big shocker, man. It was a big shocker because you just felt so bad for that family, because you're like, man, the heartache that's going on with this family, man. Like, they're losing people, years before their time. Yokozuna. By the way, the story about the barbecue, I don't know about you guys, but I would love to have been there for those barbecues. Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans, Roman Reigns there, Jimmy and Jey Uso there, Solo Sikoa there, Yokozuna's there, Tonga Kid, freaking Rosie's there. Who else am I missing? You're just like, it's like an all-star, like who's who at the barbecue, right? I'm just picturing good music. The footage that they showed of them, frying the food, it looked to be on point. Like, yeah, that's right up my alley. I can only imagine the type of fun that was going on. Rikishi, can't believe I almost blanked on Rikishi. Rock, I can't believe I almost blanked on The Rock. How could I almost blank on The Rock? I mean, that had to have been one banging ass barbecue. That sounded like some stuff that used to happen back in the day with me and my respective family. I remember growing up as a kid, south side of Chicago, and me and my family, we would always get together around my grandma Brenda's house, and we would go to this abandoned school, this abandoned elementary school, and we basically used to take advantage of the park that was still there, the swings and all that was still there. And we had like this big ass boom box. We stayed doing it in the 80s going into the early 90s. You know, we had like the boom box going, the cassettes playing, you know, really nice music. Sometimes just even letting the radio play, honestly. But we'd have the grill and everything, and we would just be just firing it up, man. We'd be cooking. And then had a nerve to go to another barbecue afterwards. That would be the funny part, because my dad be like, yeah, me and Lee, we gonna go on ahead and, you know, we gonna go down the street, we gonna see what's going on with, you know, and we go to the other barbecue. And then, right, it was always a good time. It was always a good time. And it looked like the Noah family there back in the day, it looked like they had a lot of freaking fun. Sincerely, it did. And Roman, it definitely was a journey for him, stringing it all together. WWE, definitely no lies detected right there. When Roman was being forced down our throats, you know, it felt like, okay, they're trying to have this guy be the next John Cena. And it's like, nah, man, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, don't dictate to us. You know, yeah, no, we want it to happen naturally. We want it to happen organically, without a doubt. And the way WWE was forcing Roman down our throats back then, it was so cringe. It was so cringe. Shout out to younger wrestling fans that weren't checking out the product back then. Man, you know, you all are very fortunate, because those were some trying times. You were really trying the patience of a WWE fan back then. And then the awkward, cringe-worthy promos that was coming from Roman as well, not good whatsoever. The Suffer and Succotash, I can't believe they included that in that documentary. But they had to make their point. Otherwise, it just, people wouldn't have really been able to understand just how bad things were for this guy when it was being forced upon him to portray that incarnation of Roman Reigns a certain way. It was bad. It was just bad on so many levels. The leukemia news, you know, that's one thing that they omitted, and I really wish they would have tackled it, and they would have gotten Roman to open up and talk about really in depth. Don't be long-winded about it, but just talk about it in depth. I wish that he would have talked about the leukemia reveal from that infamous edition of Monday Night Raw. Reason being, I remember that night vividly and going into the rest of the week. We had mofos, and I'm not going to even mention their names, but we had mofos that were part of the wrestling community, still part of the wrestling community back then, however, say that WWE and Roman Reigns had orchestrated this whole fake news about his leukemia returning, all to basically get this guy over. It was a publicity stunt. Nothing more than a publicity stunt, all to get this guy over. And I just remember looking at that, and I'm just going, who would think this type of crap? Like, seriously, this guy is essentially fighting for his life. And, you know, we got these people that don't know Roman Reigns, don't know anybody in WWE. They're saying that's a lie. This is just a publicity stunt. What the hell? You know, and it was running rampant. There was no way you could avoid it back then. I remember that whole week going into the next couple of weeks. There's just stuff on social media and forums, even up on YouTube. Mofos were saying that it was fake. It was all fake. I remember being so upset about that way back then. It sickened me to the stomach hearing about that. I wish they would have included that, because that really would have been, especially to hear from other certain individuals, a about that as well. It would have been nice to hear their feedback, their reactions to that as well. But, it is what it is. But yeah, as far as turning the corner, Roman Reigns, definitely the pandemic. I was here doing shows during the pandemic. Hell, many of you longtime listeners know this. I was part of the WWE virtual crowd during the pandemic era. There was a lot of shows that I had participated in and everything as a virtual fan. And that was an interesting period for WWE because the entire world was shut down and we weren't sure when live entertainment and sporting events was going to go back to normal like it was before the pandemic. We weren't sure if that day was even going to come because unless you were an essential worker, you could not be out on the streets. You could not be out on the streets. That's how bad it was for anybody that, was too young to remember, or maybe was out of the country at that time and wasn't sure how America was operating over here. But I mean, it was just really, really, and the wrestling industry as a whole, NWA had this great momentum going on, pandemic hits, and they haven't been quite the same since. For WWE, it was, okay, all right, the fans are gone. How are you going to create riveting content that connects to your viewers? Because the fans, your wrestlers, they rely so much on those fan interactions. It lets them know, okay, this is right. Okay, they're liking this. No, they're not. Let's switch this up. Roman Reigns thrived in that environment during the pandemic era. He thrived in it. He was able to fine-tune his character. He was able to get more comfortable on the microphone. That essentially was for me, I know they tried to go with Roman Reigns defeating Brock Lesnar and all that after Brock had, became the one and whatever, the Undertaker streak and all that, and then Roman ended up being the second. I know we had all that going on, but for me personally, that whole Roman Reigns, this is my yard. No, that wasn't the beginning. For me, the whole pandemic era and Roman Reigns was beginning to flush that character out more. That was the true beginning of the tribal chief, in my opinion. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with WrestleMania this weekend, because you got Roman Reigns saying, yo, if I can't get the job done, then I'm out of here. I'm done. I don't know if that's really going to be the case, but then maybe it is, because also revealed during that documentary, Roman contemplated retirement. When the pandemic had happened, his whole thing was, look, I don't want to jeopardize my health. I don't want to jeopardize my family. Like, he pretty much was going to be done. I know Paul Heyman had commented on that a little bit in an interview recently, and when things kind of looked like it was starting to get back to normal, his whole thing was, oh, wait a minute now, not so fast, right? And it's good that he was able to reach out and essentially do what he was able to do, get talk Roman into coming back in and everything. But I thoroughly enjoyed that documentary, and I don't care what anybody has to say about Roman Reigns, how anybody may feel about Roman Reigns. Definitely take it from somebody as a wrestling fan that has seen just about everything since the early 1980s. What you've been seeing right now these past couple of years is truly something that you're probably never going to see again. And if you do, it's going to be a long time. I mean, it's usually a case where it's like, that special draw, that special attraction, that special larger than life type of athlete that or entertainer that'll come around. We may not see another one like this for another 25 years, maybe even 30, potentially. So it's been a magical ride. So many people have been trying to figure out how Roman Reigns' title reign is going to come to an end. And as I've said for the longest time, just enjoy the ride for what it's worth, because you're probably not going to see this type of storytelling with the right type of character, the right type of arc, the right type of a supporting cast. You're probably not going to see anything like this ever again. You know, it's uncommon, quite honestly, especially in today's modern time of professional wrestling, to hear that somebody's been holding a title. I know NWA, they did some stuff with Camille Brickhouse, and shout out to her. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with her in the next phase of her career and everything. But, you know, if you've been a long time WWE fan, then you know, like, yo, we may not see anything like this again, right? And if it goes down, it's probably going to be like another 25, 30 years. But, you know, we'll wait and see. Great documentary. I highly recommend you guys go out of your way. Check that out. Really good stuff. Also had the opportunity to check out the finale of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. I'm not going to be long-winded about that documentary, as I just got done talking about the Roman Reigns joint. But for anybody that was a Walking Dead fan at some point, let me say this, especially if you were a Walking Dead fan up until the Rick Grimes character exited the series, I would highly encourage you to go out of your way, if you haven't already, get yourself an AMC subscription, you know, and binge watch. If you can get the AMC subscription plus, I'm talking about AMC Plus. If you can get the AMC Plus subscription on a free trial, then I would say take advantage of that free trial and binge watch on the Ones Who Live episodes. It's only 6 episodes. Again, a lot of you guys, you bailed once Rick Grimes exited the show. On this new series, Rick Grimes is back. Michonne is on the series as well. I thought it was a nice bookend to the Grimes, Michonne characters. I feel as though we're not going to see them again. If, and I do mean if, we were to potentially see them, I kind of feel as though maybe it might be on the big screen. Because I think at this point, a Walking Dead movie in theaters is probably the direction to be going. I kind of feel like maybe that's where things could potentially head, but I don't see these characters, and by the time you get done watching the series, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I will say this without putting out any spoilers for those of you that haven't seen it. When you get to the final episode, it feels like so much was crammed. It feels like so much was crammed. And you're still left asking additional questions, which is not good. It's not good that you're asking even more questions, because you're like, wait a minute, this should be a perfect, pretty little bow for this respective series. If this series is not coming back for a season 2, then yeah, we need to have all loose ends. Like, this should be it. And yet, you know, you're kind of scratching your head and you're like, man, so much was crammed. And, you know, the main antagonist throughout the series, just the big old wet fart that was laid out there in the finale, you're going, well, damn. But despite all of that, you know, still a decent series. I would have to say, again, a nice bookend to the Rick Grimes Michonne saga. So again, it's 6 episodes. Check out AMC Plus. If you can get it for a free trial, do it. Binge watch on those episodes. You'll thank me later. I have not checked out Giancarlo Esposito's new series, Parish, because that had premiered on Sunday night. I'll be watching that, and I'll get back to you guys on that one when I can. Let's see. I know we got the Janelle Grant stuff to talk about, but let me just see real quick if there's some other additional news. Yeah, there is. Heads up. WWE Clash at the Castle. It's going to be returning on June 15th in England, but as far as the stadium and all that, you want to make sure you're paying attention to WWE social media feeds Tuesday morning into the afternoon, because they're going to be revealing all of that information. So shout out to our friends overseas there. We get a lot of love there from folks over in England. So shout out to them. I'll talk about the Janelle Grant stuff because there's been an interesting development right there in a hot minute. Do you guys remember the segment where I think we titled it, "I've Got to Get This Off My Chest" or something like that? And we polled you guys a while back and said, hey, is this a segment that you guys would like for me to keep or get rid of it? And you guys were like, no, keep it. It's good. Well, Tams came up with a cooler name for it. She said, why not retitle it, "We Can't Leave This Out"? And she basically was like, play off of your name in that leave part. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. All right, cool. So that's the new segment, right? It's still the same segment. It's just being worded different. And if you had checked out the community posting on the YouTube channel, I would say anytime earlier today, then you saw the posting question where I had said, I'm only going to mention this twice. I'm going to mention it once here in the community board, and then I'm going to mention it one more time on the Raw post show, and then that's it. So let me set this up properly. It's not long-winded, nothing, that's going to be like 5, 10, 15 minutes, nothing like that. I'm going to be done in probably less than 3 minutes talking about this. So stay with me, and then we're going to talk about the update there with Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon and close out the show that way, give you guys some quick programming notes. So I got this post by somebody on YouTube that had said, hey, I've been checking out the show for a long time. Question, where are the 2 episodes? Could you point me in the right direction of the 2 episodes where your former co-host Titus lashed out at the listeners, and then the episode where you and your wife had reacted to Titus' exit from the shows? And I had looked at that, and I just was like, wow, we're really going, down this path. What the hell? And I remember at the time, the initial response that I had gave this guy, I said, man, you're talking about something from so long ago. My memory, especially since I'm, definitely older now compared to, back then, my memory is pretty spotty, and it's like, I don't really, right? So for those that didn't see the post that I had put up on the community's joint, this is what I had said. Now that you guys know all of this and everything, I'm going to skip the beginning part because I pretty much already did the introduction. So why are we doing revisionist history? Titus has not been a part of the shows in over 7 years. 7 years, people. The funny thing is, me and him parted knowing we both wanted to grow more as individuals and for our respected brands. During this time, my bonds and friendships with key folks in the podcasting community grew. I also took up more opportunities to branch out and better my craft, grow as an individual, even went back to college currently to resume my degree in journalism and media production. My life is not about being stuck in the past, but always being present and bettering myself spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. I harbor no ill will towards Titus, and he harbors no ill will towards me. People grow apart. Folks, it happens. No different than when you're in school and you think you're going to be friends with those people you make in high school, elementary school, take your pick. You think you're going to be friends with them for life. That's not always the case. As friendships, relationships, it has its respected seasons. If you all consider yourselves longtime listeners and supporters of the show, then please honor this request of mine, which is do not bring up this part of the show history unless it is to mention something in a positive light. Because again, longtime listeners know this. I say this constantly on the shows. I say this constantly on social media. If it ain't about nothing positive, I don't want anything to do with it. I gotta tell you, I was very disappointed in this listener because this guy was making a big deal out of the fact that he has listened for a long time. He just never commented on the shows. And I'm like thinking to myself, damn, dude, of all the things that you could comment on, especially the recent health scare that I had going on with my throat. I wasn't sure what was going on. My father-in-law was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. Thanks for not asking about that, by the way, dude. Like, everything's now, good on the up and up. By the way, update, my father-in-law, it looks as though he's going to be getting out of the rehab facility, possibly, if not Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, his physical therapy has he's killing it. He is killing it. So we're looking into setting him up for Meals on Wheels so that he can, have the essential main food ingredients that he needs as far as nourishments go and all that. Because he just, all that crap that he was putting into his body, it really did him harm. But no, I'm just like, all the stuff that you could have commented on, hey, I heard about your health and what was going on with your father-in-law. Just want to, hey, hang in there, bud. I'm pulling for you and all that crap. And no, instead, we want to talk about some crap that's like almost 10 years old. We're talking about stuff that I can barely remember as I'm getting old. My memory is getting a little bit spotty. I'm not going to lie. My memory is declining a little bit. And even if I did remember, like, why would I want to talk about something negative, but something else that's also disrespectful? Because, like, hey, and I'm sure he would feel the same way. Like, I know he would feel the same way. It's like, what's past is past. So if you guys want drama, you're not going to get that here. I would suggest you guys, like, Fox News, look up your local news and keep it moving along, right? That's my one and only time that I'm going to be saying to that. Anything, again, unless that period is brought up in a positive light, oh, hey, can I, hear what's the, spill the tea on, like, I'm now going to bookmark this episode and I'm just going to be like, here you go, check out this link, and the timestamp you want is blah, 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 blah. Happy trails, right? So, yeah. Janelle Grant, WWE. We're going to close out the show talking about this stuff right here. Oh, Daniel in the chat. I think Priest cashes in on Drew and Seth. That sets up Seth, Drew, Punk, triple threat for SummerSlam. Once again, I'm not going to get into predictions on this show. Because again, that goes back to the question that Joe had earlier, which is, well, what about this? Well, what about this match? What about this? Right? And then now we got you. Yeah, well, do you think that, I appreciate you guys asking these questions, but that just creates this snowball effect where one match, well, then we got to talk about this match. Well, then we got to talk about this match too. I'm not doing that. We're going to have a whole show that's going to be dedicated to looking at the entire card for WrestleMania, night 1 and 2, We'll also talk about the Bray Wyatt documentary and all that. I will look at all of the cool scenarios that's going to be going down in that prediction special. So FYI, let's talk Janelle Grant. All right. So in a interesting update here, Janelle Grant, of course, the woman who alleges that she was sexually abused for years by Vince McMahon. Interesting update as the Post is reporting, New York Post, they're reporting that apparently she wrote a gushing love letter to the former WWE CEO in which she declared the duo was in love with a capital L. She's now claiming that McMahon coerced her to do it, the Post has learned. So, you know, you hear that and you're like, what the hell? So Janelle Grant, bombshell lawsuit landed the day before Vince McMahon had to abruptly step down as an executive chairman of WWE parent TKO Group Holdings. Apparently penned a lengthy email to McMahon that dates back to December 24th, 2021, which she called him my best friend, my love, and everything. And before you guys go screenshots or it's not real, apparently there are screenshots of a text message between the two of them where she's trying to confirm what it is that he wants for her to write. The love-struck letter stands in contrast to the allegations in her explosive lawsuit filed in Connecticut federal court in January, which claimed that Vince McMahon allegedly defecated on Grant's head during a threesome, May of 2020, some 18 months before she wrote the alleged love letter. But Grant's attorney told the Post that McMahon actually instructed Grant to write the note. Quote unquote, frankly, it's pretty disgusting that Vince's weeks late attempt to defend his horrendous behavior he claims to this day never happened, is to try to showcase letters that Vince himself coerced her to write. The psychological torture of her continues, as it is typical of abusive predators who respond to women speaking out with increased threats. While Janelle isn't a stranger to his intimidation tactics, this is a new low even for him. Asked about the coercion allegations, McMahon's attorney, Jessica Tubb Rosenberg, of the law firm Kozowitz Benson Torres, told the Post that this is revisionist history. No one coerced Ms. Grant to write the letter. Please read the letter that I wrote. The language of the letter is consistent with other communications she made to Mr. McMahon over the course of their consensual relationship, Rosenberg added. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for Grant revealed that on December 21st, 3 days before sending the letter, Grant texted McMahon that she had surgery on her pointer finger, saying, "Think I'm tapping out for today." And the alleged text exchange obtained by the Post, which was not included in Grant's lawsuit, but alleged as genuine by a spokesperson for Grant, McMahon responded, "Damn it, sorry, baby," following it with 2 heart emojis. I'm having a hard time. God damn it, baby. I'm sorry there, eggplant. Face a heart emoji, eggplant, peaches. Millions of peaches. Peaches for free. Don't mind me. Anyway. How will I write your letter? Grant replied in the text thread. I can type and read it or try to write in a couple of days, Grant added. I'm so sorry if I messed this up. I want you to have a nice letter. Sad face emoji. Aww. Grant's rep, who asked to remain unnamed, also said that Grant had written love letters at McMahon's request, so at many times that she resorted to padding them with existing material from pop culture, including a GQ interview with Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly published 2 months before Grant's letter. Fox and MGK are in love with a capital L. The story also states yet another phrase lifted by Grant. Another passage, Grant wrote, I feel understood, accepted, loved, and appreciated for who I am at my core. You see my heart. You see my soul. You're in my heart. You're in my soul. Yeah, who sang that song? Anyway, there are a few people who know the secret of making a heaven here on earth. You are one of those rare people. Ew. Ew. This just gets more creepier and creepier and fouler. Like, what did I say to you guys several weeks back to pretty much start this new calendar year? I said, this is going to continue to develop. We're just getting started. Like, there is so much of a snowball effect and more stories that is going to be coming out in regards to this. Like, we're just getting started. My message to you guys was buckle up, because the ride's going to continue to be even more bumpier and more WTF. Okay? So, obviously, you've got the defense saying, no, this didn't happen. Like, Grant don't know what she's talking right. They're trying to paint her out to be this woman don't know what she's talking about. She like drugged out or something. That's literally how they're trying to paint her. But then, meanwhile, we've got Grant and her people, the prosecution. They're like, we got these receipts right here. So, again, it's a he said, she said. If this goes to trial, and I really hope it does, because we're going to enter that whole discovery phase and, okay, what evidence do we got? And right, all of that, unless Vince McMahon and them try to figure out a way to set up some type of a gag order. And then on top of that, have certain things be sealed from general public consumption, what have you. You can't freedom of act, I can go look it up. Like, not if it's sealed, you can't. So it's going to be interesting to see, how far along this goes. I mean, here she is so far, and we haven't heard anything about, it looks like they're settling, if she really is about trying to set the tone, trying to set that message, and, speak on behalf of any other victims that may have been impacted by the actions of Vince McMahon. If she's going to see it through, okay, well then see it through, right? I mean, you could almost picture Vince McMahon. Yeah, write this for me. Yeah, write this for me, baby, please, because this just, I can't go through this right now. This just looks really bad. Really bad. I can't have this. I just can't have this publicity. It looks real bad. I can almost picture it. I really can. It's just, this dude gets more and more creepier by the story and by the day. Every time something is put out about this guy, it's just WTF, man. Like, it sickens me to the stomach. And it's so sad that, isn't it also interesting that the timing of this comes out the week of WrestleMania? Isn't that kind of interesting too? It's like, we couldn't put this out last week before. I have a feeling this is going to get buried. I honestly do. I have a feeling that this is going to get buried because WWE's like, there's so much fanfare, so much good press that they've got going on right now. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's just drowning everything out. Much like when you think about the CM Punk interview with Ariel Helwani this week. I think that's going to get lost in the shuffle real quick. And it's kind of a smart move on CM Punk's part to get those questions out in the open. I promise you this. He's not going to talk about his AEW exit and the whole stuff with Jack Perry. That's not going to be brought up again. I promise you that. He is, I feel, one, and done. Much like how he was one and done when he went on the Colt Cabana podcast and talked about his time there in WWE and how everything just went kablooey. He's going to be one and done with this. And I think the timing of this is very interesting because even though Punk maybe did not want to talk about it, just the fact that, you know what, let's just get it out the way. He's not really going to be doing that many media interviews. He's rarely a media interview guy. He rarely is. That's just how he rolls. Okay? So this is going to easily get, buried amongst all the other stuff that's going on because it's WrestleMania week and all that. And this Janelle Grant stuff that came out. Just interesting that came out conveniently on April Fool's Day, of all days. Just something to marinate on. Quick programming notes. As far as next go round, I'm going to be with you guys. I got to check and see. I don't know if it's going to be me or if it's going to be my wife that's going to end up picking up the father-in-law from the rehab facility on Wednesday, or if it's going to be Thursday. We're trying to see if we can get him out as early as possible on Wednesday because it would really work great for me on my schedule because I'll be in between classes. I'll have a little bit of a rest period there where I can do what I need to do. So I'm hoping Wednesday, because if so, then that means I can do a show for you guys Wednesday night for sure. Otherwise, it may be a case where we end up doing a show maybe Thursday night. I'm thinking maybe 9:30, give or take 9:30, 9:45. Come on, do a show for you guys. But either way, we're definitely going to be doing another show. We'll talk about the Bray Wyatt doc. We'll also talk about WrestleMania predictions. We'll talk a little bit of AEW as well. I think by then we'll definitely have a better idea of what's going on with some of those releases that's continuing to be ongoing right now. If you just are now tuning in, last names I heard as far as releases from AEW, Dasha Fuentes, Stu Grayson. Fightful noted that there's even more releases that's going to be coming because it's an ongoing situation. More names are going to be coming in the next couple of days. So, I'm curious to see who's all going to be on that list and everything. Meantime, Be Kind Rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the like button. When you do that, you really help supercharge the content, get it out there to a more wider audience. Support the shows on, I was about to say Stitcher, but that is no more. Sucks. But we've got Spotify, we've got iTunes, we've got iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR Show. Leave those ratings and reviews as well. Get at me on Facebook, X, YouTube, keywords, the RCWR Show. Shout out to friends of the show. Shout out to my man, Julian Cannon. Shout out to John Draper. Shout out to my man, Mish Thomas, Joe Numbers of Wrestling Soup. I know myself, Mish, and Drapes were talking. We're going to be doing something really cool in the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to say it out loud right now because I don't want to jinx it. But once we actually sit down and we do it, and it's in the can, then I will gladly promote the hell out of it, right? But my fingers are crossed right now. Shout out to Julian Cannon? Shout out to Julian Cannon, who did a great write-up review for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live finale. He also covers BMF as well. I love reading his reviews. He just makes it look so effortless. Love it. Good stuff right there. Shout out to our sponsors. Can't forget about our sponsors. Shout out to the good folks over at shoptotallytshirt.com. Whether you have a charitable event or some type of sporting event, or maybe you need to do some type of volunteer work or whatnot, and you need some shirts, hoodies, hats, shoptotallytshirt.com can help you out with that. They've got great affordable prices, excellent customer service, and they also have the best and high quality items. So check them out today. ShopTotallyT-shirt.com. We're also brought to you in part by MercSaver.com, where you can find really cool items that's 99 cents or less on their store site. They're always adding new items daily, and the best part I like about MercSaver.com is any items that you purchase, like let's say you do an order of $15 or more, bare minimum $15 or more, your shipping is free. So check them out, MercSaver.com. And we're also brought to you in part by the good folks over at DoBack.com. If you're looking for the perfect gift for him, her, or for the kids, DoBack.com has you covered with great unbeatable deals. We're talking deep discounts, coupons, cashback offers as well. Get rewarded for shopping online and going with some really good brand name stuff. So check them out, DoBack.com. We appreciate all of these great sponsors working with us as we go into the WrestleMania week, man. We are here. WrestleMania week is here. I'm looking forward to busting out some of my WrestleMania shirts that's going to be coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's personal meet and greet experiences online and everything. That should be loads freaking fun. I don't know if WWE is truly prepared for what's about to go down with the floodgates there with those meet and greets and VIP packages and all that. Man, yeah, man, I would love to cover that event, that whole week, just seeing what's going on with the whole meet and greets and all of that. I was telling wife, I said, we should really try to, and she's like, yeah, but we got to worry about hotel stay. We got to worry about who would take care of the girls, our 3 dogs, particularly our oldest one, Maggie, because she is up there in age. She needs her medicine at certain times. She has to go to the restroom at certain times. Otherwise, there's going to be accidents. The timing was just really, really bad this go round. Otherwise, your man definitely would be there in Philly looking for some really good Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, whole 9 yards. But it's all good. There's always the next rodeo. All right, guys, that is going to do it. If you're going to be looking for this on demand and on the downloads, give me about 45 minutes, and I will have this be cleaned up and available for you all. Until next go round, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another, and I will see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all. Take care.